Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back. How are we doing? Oops. Doesn't help when you're playing YouTube on the phone, but hope everybody's having a good evening. And hopefully everybody came back and you enjoyed the show earlier that we had. It was great to have Mel and Holly on there. And, on the Bigfoot Body Talk, that's going to be a weekly thing. Sounds like Holly and I and Mel are all going to be weekly for a while, at least when we can, to, you know, hopefully provide information from the wellness and fitness and help everybody who wants to start a journey or people who are on their journey and just want to better themselves. And, it's nice to have more than my opinion on there because it gives a broader range of topic and other people's views and other people's needs. Like the fact that Mel has different goals, Holly has different goals, I have different goals. We got 3 different age brackets. So I think it's going to work out really good. I think it's going to be a fun show. So I think people will enjoy it. Tonight, however, we are going to take a look back on the year in Bigfoot. 2025 may not have been my best year. I did have some cool experiences, but there was a lot going on in the world of Bigfoot this year. And it's definitely an upward trend. I think you're going to see more of it. I think we're going to see even better and better stuff come out as time progresses. The fact that, people are accepting this topic and taking it a little more seriously is nice to the extent that more people are looking. It's also nice that people are more open-minded about what's going on. It's nice that to further acceptance of what's out there in the woods. Some people, are believers. Some people are skeptics. Some are in between. Ironically, or I shouldn't say ironically, I should say more like amazingly, some people don't even know exactly what Bigfoot is. I mean, none of us really know what it is, but don't even have a concept. They think it's like Santa Claus. There's one of them, and he's popping up all over the world and centuries old. So apparently he's immortal, like Duncan MacLeod from the Highlander. So to uh, see more and more evidence coming out is great because of the fact that, we are, those of us who've been doing this a long time or believed in a long time and are being taken more serious. People are going back through all the old evidence and people are going through the new stuff. And, there's pros and there's cons to it. The pros are people are looking at stuff. The cons are people want a moment of that spotlight. So with that comes, hoaxing, which is a big problem in trying to get this topic taken seriously. There aren't many. We talked earlier, fitness influence to me is a little bit of hoaxing because you're presenting a false image that isn't easily attainable as people make it sound. Bigfoot, when you get people hoaxing with fake footprints and costumes, it makes it very difficult to be taken seriously. There were a couple big losses this year, and RIP Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who we lost probably one of the premier and one of the first scientists to put credibility to Bigfoot. So that was a huge loss to the Bigfoot community because he gave credibility to all his study of the prints and the fact that he had his own experiences. So 2025 was kind of a loss at that point. It was huge. So let's, a quick prayer for Dr. Meldrum and his family. Again, a big loss. There were several others that as well, sad to see them go, but the fact that they laid the foundation for what is happening now, being taken more seriously. And with it being taken more seriously, more people are out, better stuff's coming out. There were some good stuff that came out this year, some great videos. due to copyright issues, I can't really play it as much as I would like to. So I took some still shots from it. The video is by Maximum Fear. So if you want to check out some amazing videos that came out this year, check him out. I'm going to show some still shots tonight. So then that way, maybe you'll go check him out and give the guy a like. He has great content, for such a young kid. Head on his shoulders, really cool stuff. Before I get too deep into the picture wise, as far as my Bigfooting this year, there were some really cool things. I got to look at some new property that I won't say who, but a couple new friends allowed me to explore. That was right next to where my original Bigfoot experience was, which was really cool because, again, credibility, proving that I wasn't exactly crazy when you got two people from Joe. How you doing? Thanks for joining me. Appreciate everybody that's in here. I found lots of tree structures out there, lots of prints, I don't want to say prints, impressions, because there's so much deadfall. It's hard, but when you see, 17 and 18-inch impressions that are way bigger than boot, you get a good idea. And then not only that, but I had a recorder stolen by something out there. And, I actually had it ironically taped with Gorilla Tape to a tree. And I had put it in a plastic Ziploc bag and with the mic out. And we came back just a couple days later and go and look. And the Gorilla Tape was still there. The bag's still there, taped to the tree, but the recorder's missing. So that was one of the cool things that happened this year in the limited time I got out. A friend and I did go out and we had vocals. There were some tree knocks. So it wasn't a totally busted year this year. It was a good year for the limited time that we were out. Next year is going to be even better. We'll get things in line with my health and get back out in the woods more frequently. We got lots of new toys to play with. We got, replaced a couple digital recorders, so we'll be able to put those out. Actually got a couple trail cams, not that they do any good, but they are catching some stuff, so who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky with it. The pictures, there was one in particular I wanted to find, but it's really crazy how you can Google about anything you want, but when you try to pull up Bigfoot trail cam pictures, Google basically blocks you out. It brings up all the, Bigfoot vlog. That was another good thing that came out of the year. Although it's AI, it's funnier than heck. But there was a trail cam in Texas that was pretty amazing, taken during the day. And then there's some pictures here again that I took from Maximum Fear, best videos of 2025. Check it out. So let's take a look at these and just see. Again, the pictures don't do justice compared to the video. There's some good ones. There's some shaky stuff, but overall, one of my favorites was this one here that was taken in Texas. And you can see the loader in the front, or backhoe, whatever you want to call it, front hoe. And in the background, you can see a massive shape. Roger Blair, how you doing? Good to see you. And the reason why I like this photo so much is the fact that you've got reference for size. So you can see how big that piece of equipment is in the front. And then the back portion where that shadow is just to the right and up from that equipment is a massive black shadow. And we'll watch the video. It does move, walks around. Seems like it's kind of swaying back and forth. Like it's curious and checking out the equipment. And excuse me, to me, it's too big to be a person in a suit. Again, these are my opinions, and anybody who wants to chime in, please do in the chat. But when you watch it move, it's just kind of fluid. It's not clunky. So to me, this is a really good one. that came out in 2025. This one I tend to think is AI. Here's one of the ones that, this is supposedly one taken over the shoulder of a cameraman who happened to be filming a Bigfoot. To me, it just screams AI. I don't know about people in the chat, but, and for the audio people, I'm sorry about this one, but it shows a cameraman and then he's filming what looks like a very clear, almost too good image of what's supposed to be a Bigfoot. That was another one that came out this year. So AI makes things tricky now. There's some things that give it dead away most of the time. That if you look close, maybe they got 6 fingers instead of 5, or uh, all kinds of other weird little things that just make it look fake. But some of it's pretty good now. They're doing a great job, unfortunately, because it makes it that much harder for us to figure out. See if we can blow that one up a little bit. And Roger, for just joining, I'm going to bring this one back up because I think you'll find this one did make the rounds. Here was a good one that they took a picture and they put it on the screen through filters. Roger, I'd say it's probably AI. I agree, Roger. It looks too good. I hate to say that, but John, how you doing? God bless you too. Johnson saying hi to Roger. But this one to me looks. I have to go with more. When you look close at it, I almost want to say it's a bear. They took the original picture and then they put it up with 3 different filters. I only was able to capture 2 on the camera, but to me, it looks more like a bear and getting ready to stand up. A lot of people will say that it's a Bigfoot hunched over with the arms hanging down, but with the way it looks like the paws are bent like a bear when it stands up. The paws will go like this; they don't stay straight, and they look straight instead of the hands being cupped, to the sides like a Bigfoot would be. AI is going to hurt all communities. Yeah, AI it's great in some aspects. I think if you were here, I think it was last week when I was doing the show, AI and I actually got into a dispute over my pictures, which was kind of funny to go by. So it's great in some aspects, but it's going to do a lot of harm. AI it's already influencing not only the Bigfoot community, but it's actually affecting jobs for people now. A lot of these electronic companies and gaming companies have actually Microsoft laid off 9,000 people, but it was 30,000 by the end of the month. All to make room for AI ran basically AI ran jobs. They eliminated all those jobs and put them in AI. Thankfully, there's some legislature coming, it sounds like, to try to limit the use. But, here was another one. Not a Bigfoot. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. To me, this is another one where it came on a trail cam. But, it's 2025, so you have to look at the good with the bad, because in that way we know what to look for in the bad. It gives us a better understanding of what people are doing and how they're kind of cheating the system, if you will. So we need to stay one step ahead of the AI community. Again, this is supposed to be another trail cam 2025. I think most of these are out of Texas, if I remember right. A couple of them are a little older, but they're still good ones to go by. This one's really blurry. Again, this is one where you have to watch the Maximum Fear video, but you can see the shape in front of the tent, and it looks fairly big. And when you watch it move, the arms are big. The arms are, elongated the way they should be. And it's another one that was pretty fluid. It's not real clunky like a person in a costume. And to me, this is another good possibility. Now, would I, bet my house on it? Nope. But it's another one that stands out. This is one of my favorites. When you see this walking, the only thing that throws me off is when you're looking at this, it looks like it's got a hunchback, where it almost looks like a padded suit, but with the arm ratio. And the key thing with arm ratio too that people don't think about, and I got another picture of this as an example coming up, is not only are you looking at the arm length, but you need to look at where that elbow bends, because there are a lot of, they make extensions so the arms will look longer, but if you look where the elbow bends, that'll kind of give you a hint of whether or not they're using extensions. Because even if it's human Bigfoot, your elbow's going to bend right about the middle of the arm. And let's see here. Here was one that when you watch this video, again, the picture doesn't do it justice, but you watch the video, and this was the guy had his dog playing and caught this in the background. With the way this moves, let's see here. John said, looks like a crawler. Yeah, that, I never thought of that. That's definitely very possible. But when you watch the video from Maximum Fear, watch this one, and you will see how quick this moves, and the fact that the head doesn't bob at all, and it's quick. It moves, like an athlete. It's just scoots right across it, and it's not in a run. You can tell it's at a casual pace, but it's fairly tall and agile and fast. Here's one of my favorites. One of my favorite videos of all time. Obviously, Patterson Gimlin film, is my favorite. But here's a still shot from Provo Canyon. And you can actually see this thing. It walks down the hill and squats down while the people are watching it. There's a group of people. It's not just one person taking a picture. There's actually a group of people, and it squats down. And this shot is taken right after it stands up and has a rock in its hand. And you can see the arm is cocked back and getting ready to side throw. And to me, that's another hint. Not a lot of people are going to sidearm when they throw a rock. Most people are going to either toss it underhand or overhand, this type of motion, or underhand. Not a lot of people sidearm. And this creature sidearms the rock. And the other thing, that the reaction is pretty believable. It's not all screaming and crazy. They're not losing their crap. It's just like, oh crap. Camera comes down and off they go. Filter one. Let's see. Roger didn't see this one, so we'll put this one back up. And John, let's see what your guys' opinion is. Again, this is one with a piece of equipment, and in the background is a huge shadow, just as big and almost as wide as that piece of equipment. So, and when you watch it move, it is back and forth, very curious. Another great piece of film that came out in 2025. Again, Maximum Fear, check him out. A lot of good stuff. The one I really wanted to show you was and if you can find it, it was on Squatch Detective, I believe. There's a video of another trail cam photo that was taken during the day, and is a great shot, and Squatch Detective does a great breakdown, because not only do they have the information, John is probably twice as big. Yeah, huge. That thing's massive back there. And you can see, for scale, not only the equipment, but you can see the guy inside. operating the equipment, and even that close, the man in front is not as big as the being that's in the back. So that's pretty doggone good as far as, I think this is legit. And again, for those who missed it, I think, we're going to continue to see more and more legit things come out of the woodwork. Let's see. Get rid of this because we got more people out, and people are finally opening up, because there's a lot of stuff I am sure this I would bet my house on. A lot of people are sitting on pictures, and for a couple reasons. Maybe it'll be nice to start letting these out. The fact that, one, it's becoming more acceptable. People aren't taking heat for putting up pictures. And two, they are, unfortunately, some of these people think they have, the magic picture, and they want to make money off it. So they're sitting on it, so maybe the price is right. And, that's a shame. I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's hard to try to make money off Bigfoot pictures, and again, when you do go public, you risk taking heat. So it's a double-edged sword when you go at it. Standing Stone, hello, my friend. Long time no see. Let's bring up a few more pictures here. Standing Stone, I hope you are doing excellent. I hope your health is doing okay. I know we haven't chatted in a while. I hope all is well. Let's see what this one is. Oh, here we go. This was one that looks good when you first look at it, but to me brings that question, because it's obviously tall. There's nothing in it for scale, so it's hard to say. You see a lot of people like the Loch Ness Monster incident, where they use a little tiny toy, but were able to make it appear like it was huge with the ripples in the water and just the angle of photography. And that was, 7 decades ago when that photo came out. So imagine what they're able to do now with AI and stuff. But this one it looks okay, but then remember when I was just talking about where you got to look at where that arm bends. Standing Stone, yeah, long stuff, but day by day. Well, you're in my prayers, my friend. The Freeman film is the real thing. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. The Freeman footage is great. John looks like Iron Man. See, and that's where it kind of comes across as where that elbow bends. It's awful high up. That forearm is either really long or the top of the arm is really short. The traps are like, how do I want to put this? Too defined, almost, the way they go up into the neck, but it looks like they're sharp angles, and there's no meat in the front. Unless it's severely emaciated, then even then there's no such thing, the arm length and the weird, unless it's holding onto that tree in the background. Then your head looks small to the rest of it. Yeah, and that weird, it's either showing its teeth or something. You got that weird grin that's back there. There's one from a video that was really, really, oops, this one. Here's one that's making the rounds again. But, I think this is a good one. This is from the White Star. If everybody remembers the Finding Bigfoot one, the White Star video, or series of pictures. And they actually had Bobo come out go across to that exact same spot. Bobo is, what was he, 6'6", something like that? Well over 300 pounds at the time, and Bobo, even in his coat and backpack, looked awful small compared to this. So even in 2025, this one still looks good. Nope. Nope what? Let's see. I gotta find this picture for you because there is a video out that is pretty crazy of a guy who is, oops, paragliding and winds up getting awful close to something that maybe he, let's see, remove him. Gets a little close to something that looks awful big. Oh, the picture before it, I got it. Thank you. So the Iron Man looking one in covered hair with the extra long forearms. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's Iron Man again. Sorry, folks, I downloaded these a couple times by accident. You know, me and Tech, we don't actually get along all the time, but is what it is. At least you know the show's real. We're not editing here. We're live. Taking questions. Here we go. This one's crazy. You get a chance, go watch that video because this one's in there. Brian, did you see the face on the ones you've seen? No, I did not. I did not actually, even the one that where we got walked out, um, because of the fact that when I hit it with the flashlight, as soon as I turned that light on, the left arm came up and covered its face. So I could see the left forearm very well. And then the hair was hanging down, 3 or 4 inches. So I didn't get a good look at that one. My first sighting was in 1987, and that was a nighttime road sighting. And what happened was I came around the corner, long story short, got really, really close to it within a couple feet of the front bumper. And it stood up and it turned and faced my car, but it was so tall, the face was out of the headlights. Standing stones, yep, and that famous 79 El Camino. I need to put a picture of that up there. Maybe that'll be my profile pic. That is quite the profile pic too, my 79 El Camino, because it'll give you an idea how big the Bigfoot was, because its shoulders were fender to fender wide. And the picture I have of that car with me is I'm right in the middle of it, and I got plenty of room both sides. And even at 16, I was fairly wide kid, broad shoulders. But that Bigfoot was so tall that even with the high beams on, I could see about mid-chest, but it was close enough that it hit at mid-chest, and then I could see eye shine. So I didn't get a look at the face. And the other ones, their back has been to me most of the time. Like the one where I was walking through the woods and put the peanut butter out, jangled my keys instead of clapping, and I heard crashing, and I got out to the clearing just in time to see the Bigfoot go over the bluff and just got a view of like mid back up to the head, so the reddish brown fur, the traps that go right up, and it just looks like a little football helmet sitting on top of the head, on top of the body, and the traps just go right into it. And then the other one was when I kept seeing what looked like a stump, but it looked like when you see the termite stump, how it turns red when the wood gets wet. I kept looking up, it looked off. And then I just kept looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? So, and then as soon as I pull my camera out, it stands up and goes off the other side of the bluff. So they're not dumb. They are definitely well within hiking distance at any given point in the wilderness. They definitely outsmart us. So standing stones, yes. So this picture, when you go check the video out, this is cool because in the picture I'm showing, it looks like it's walking away. This one, it's actually walking toward the camera as this guy's paragliding. And when you see it on the video, it's massive. And to me, it doesn't look like AI, my opinion, and it doesn't look happy. Obviously, it got caught out in the open. Not only that, but if you look to the right of what the creature is, you can see footsteps where it's walking up the mountain. And then it must have realized the paraglider was coming, and it makes a hard left and starts heading down. So I don't think AI would have thought enough to put the tracks in there from the creature walking down. And as it walks, you can see the tracks. Standing still is paragliding. Wow. Yeah, it was crazy. It's the first time I've seen a video like this. It wasn't a drone. The name of the video, Standing Stones, is if you go to Maximum Fear and check out Best of 2025. He just put another one out like 2 minutes ago, so it'll be the older one. But he got some great stuff on there. AI would be clear, John said. Yeah. And I think AI would get the arm length wrong too on this, the way it's moving, because most of the time the AI, the arms are a little bit shorter, or it looks like a gorilla. And when this thing's walking toward it, it doesn't look like a gorilla, and it definitely isn't a man in a suit. So, the big question is, what is it? I mean, there's those of us who believe, and when you see how, I just can't emphasize how big this thing is, and it's not just the camera distance. And I can't imagine paragliding and this, because to me, when you look at this and you watch this video, it looks like it's turned around and heading toward him. So he gets way close. And I bet he had a brown pants moment for sure, because it would just, I mean, there's a reason why there's a what the F caption, because once in a lifetime capture here. This is another one that I really hope somebody, that's another highlight of 2025, folks. If you missed it, please go check it out. The interview I got to do with MK Davis on the anniversary of the Patterson-Gimlin film, to me, was the highlight of the year. I just subbed to that channel. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great channel. He puts out some good content. But if you missed that video with MK Davis, check it out. He talks about something he had never talked about before, something he had just learned with the Patterson-Gimlin. And Patty, for those you don't know, Patty is the subject in the film, named after Roger Patterson. But the fact that, and he goes into detail on the show and shows it as well. And he also did a video after our show, so we actually got to, be the first to air that, which was really cool to me. And the fact that Patty, a Bigfoot, actually has a braid in her hair, which people, that would stump most people. Why would a Bigfoot have a braid in the hair? And he is able to zoom in and show the fact that the braid does, it's not a glitch in the film. The braid does move naturally with her movement. And he had some Native American elders talk to him. And apparently that braid is of significance to the fact that I believe it was the one who knows the way. So, and we got to get into a lot more cool stuff with MK on the show as well, talking about some of his other very cool videos. Like, if you get a chance, go to Green Wave 2010, and there's a video of what looked like two Bigfoot fighting. and you can see there's a white one and a black one. They're coming out of a barn, and the white one is just pushing the crap out of the black one, pushing it back and pushing it back, and they're pounding on each other as they go out of camera. And then a few seconds later, you see the white one and the black one shoot back to the left, and they're running. And then a couple seconds after that, you see something that is literally almost as tall as the barn walk into frame. So it looks like there were two kids playing and fighting, and then at some point, Pop had enough and went to break up the fight, and the two little Squatches hauled Squatch butt, and Dad was going to make sure it didn't happen again. So, check this video out. Let's go back. We got some new viewers, so let's put some of these other pictures back up. One, we'll put the good with the bad. Supposed trail cam video. To me, it looks like they put a stuffed monkey out there, or they used AI, try to get the eye shine. Standing stones. I saw some sort of cryptid on the way to work like 3 years ago at dawn. Jumped up from a ditch, flashed across 4 lanes in 2 seconds. I shook my head, said, "What? WTF?" And then I see it again in the woods on the other side. Did it jump across on, when you say leaped across, was it like a, when you see a monkey run where it hits all fours and, it uses its hands to propel it? Standing stones in a clearing, but only the bottom half, pure black legs like the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. The legs were off the ground, spinning in place. So he was in a hurry. Standing stones, and John, here's another one where you watch the video. The video looks great, but the only thing that's off is that head. Standing stones, it was leaning forward. Yeah, so like did it look more Dogman, or did it look more primate to you? Did it have a tail? I think there were two side by side. Well, now we're getting interesting. Not that it wasn't before, but when you get two of them. Let's see here. Again, 2025 and it's just the beginning, folks. I think we are really going to come someplace. Don't ask me why. It's a gut feeling. 2026 is going to open some eyes for some reason. Sorry, I can't get over this one, folks. This one to me is great. And watching that massive figure in the back who is at least 2 to 3 times the size of the person inside the cab is outstanding. Standing stones was about 100 yards up the hill. So across the road and 100 yards up the hill before. That's crazy. That is something hauling tail for sure. What do you guys think? You think we're going to get really good stuff in the 2026, or do you think we're going to have to deal with, unfortunately, a whole lot of AI and trying to sort out who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, who's just looking for a moment of fame? That's the hard part, and it's sad because of the fact that we have to do that, and it's probably one of the only fields where we have to worry about that, because when's the last time anybody faked a T-Rex print in their yard? Archaeology doesn't have to deal with this. But for some reason, people need to get a moment of fame. And whether it's a moment of fame or not, you know what? Maybe they're not only looking for a moment of fame, but maybe they're looking to try and think people are stupid and that will fall for anything, that we're not analytical. people testing us. John says, I think something is holding these creatures at bay till one day they'll be set free. They are awful cautious. You don't hear, I mean, the reports are out there. Every so often you get a, what's the word I'm looking for? A negative encounter, where it's a negative outcome, I should say. The Bauman incident is a good example of that. Most of the time, it seems like, to me, it seems more like they're curious. Yes, there are some crazy interactions, like the cowman of Copals Beach, where the Bigfoot was talking to the kid through the window. And then at one point, that night, the Bigfoot actually, while they were all gathered in the window, smashed the window to try to get at the kid, where mom took a 12 gauge shotty to it and wounded it, and off it ran. Dad packed up the family. They went to a brother's house, and when they came back the next day to get belongings, the Bigfoot had gone into the house, and had completely trashed the house. There were actually holes in the ceiling where it looked like something had bumped its head while walking through. The refrigerator was turned over. A huge television, which back in the 70s, when this was supposed to happen, those TVs were huge, a couple 100 pounds, and that thing, and it had been tossed across the room. The kids' bedrooms weren't messed with, but the bedroom where the lady had, poked it through the window was trashed. So, that one definitely had an axe to grind. And with them being held back, right now they're definitely playing it safe. They see what, if you get one of the hairless little monkeys, a whole bunch of the hairless monkeys are going to come looking for his little buddy, and they all carry boomsticks, and it makes a really bad day for the clan, unless you get a rogue one like the Goodway who just doesn't care. Then you have to deal with that. But for the most part, yeah, maybe at some point, maybe we're looking at Planet of the Apes 2026, because if they decide to let it all hang out and do what they are capable of, it's going to be a very intense time. Because in my opinion, others have put this forth, that national parks were kind of put in there by Teddy Roosevelt after what I think was his encounter. I think he was Bauman, after hearing several other people talk about it, and put the national parks in place where the most concentrated clans and number of these cryptids are, which is why these national parks are so huge, why they're still protected to this day, even with all the advancements and push into nature for housing and things like that for people. National parks are still off limits, as of this point. And I think it's because, one, to protect them, and two, to protect us from them. So you need to, respect what's happening. But I think 2026 will be the year. Again, 2025 was great. Again, I had a recorder stolen, which was pretty crazy, because I had a gorilla taped. It's there. And then when the owner and I of the property went and looked for it, he's the one, I'm looking around for the recorder thinking a raccoon took it, or a squirrel or something. I was going to find it right around the base of the tree. And I'm like, started looking, and he's like, whoa, wait. I'm like, what? And then you could see 17-inch impressions actually walking from the woods up to the tree, and then it kept going. So I don't know if it saw the light on the recorder and just decided that it was nice and pretty and took it. But as of this point, still haven't found it. It's probably a keepsake, like Bigfoot will do sometimes. But I hope everybody has had a little fun tonight with these. These pictures are great. Again, go check out Maximum Fear. You can see a lot of these beings in motion on the video. and it's even more impressive then. So I just thought I'd give you a little snippet. Some of the best of 2025. Again, the Texas one isn't on there. Check out Squatch Detective for that video because they break down everything, every measurement, and it is just outside the human realm of possibility with the size. So that's another one that should be right up there, at least if not gold standard, probably the silver standard, because there's so much information about it. But with that, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you guys for a wonderful 2025. I've had a blast doing these shows, interacting with the chat, the fact that you guys want to come here and just hang out with me for an hour. It means the world to me, and the conversations we have are great. I love the fact that we can be chatting, and yet sometimes if I have a topic, we'll get questions in the chat and topic goes out the window and we'll just run with what the chat does. So I love the fact that I have the freedom to do that. So thank you, Grizz and Mary, for allowing me to run the show how I want. And thank all of you. And with that, from coast to coast around the world, I want all of you to have a Merry Christmas, to have a Happy New Year, and to keep on watching if that's your thing, because that's what I'm going to do this year, folks. We are going to beat cancer. We are going to get out in the woods. I'm not going to say we're going to get a lot of evidence because that is up to the Squatches. So coast to coast around the world, everybody have a great night.